Hello, this is Wmpyr here to talk about Karambit. Okay, um, so let me go ahead and deploy the blade there. So when we're talking about how to use the Karambit, how to actually use it in a self-defense situation, a lot of people, to me, go by two major ways to use this. And the first one is knife boxing. So, then grab the Karambit and they box with it, And you can see with the shape of the karambit that when you throw a punch, the point already faces. So boom, boom. And then, of course, you can have your uppercuts, your hook. You could throw the jab with the karambit, or it could be the cross. But yeah, knife boxing, right? In my opinion, what do I think about that? Um, I think it's good. I think it's really good technique wise, because a lot of people can be very comfortable and familiar with boxing. And for that reason alone, I think it's good. Now, whether it suits an actual self defense situation and all that is a completely different story. But if I'm just looking at, the combat aspect, the technique aspect, um, boxing is something that we've had since I believe pretty much the beginning of time. All right. But I do have to say this. If you don't study knife fencing along with knife boxing, then I feel like you're not getting the complete picture. You're only getting partial. So knife fencing and knife boxing, in my opinion, go together. And yeah, because in a real life situation, obviously it is different from the sport of boxing. So, just holding a knife and then doing just boxing, you're still like putting yourself in that sport arena essentially. And in a real life situation, real life is real life, has nothing to do with the sport. You know what I mean? So in that sense, um, once again, I feel like you're only getting partial of the picture. You're missing out on a lot of other things, and it is not necessarily true to actual real combat when there's no rules applied, which is the streets. So, in that sense, I believe the other half that you're missing is knife fencing. So then, the other thing, the other way that a lot of people I see when I click on, YouTube videos and stuff, and people like showing the karambit, what they like to do is they like to do these real big slashes, boom, 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 this kind of stuff. And yeah, if you've ever slashed at like a water bottle or something like that, or even some meat hanging with a karambit, I mean it could be devastating. With the the damage that you're doing to the targets is absolutely devastating, right? Okay. Um, well, the way that I view that, right, and some people they don't do knife boxing, they just practice that, right? And to me, the way that I see it is that is like, let's say you're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, right? And all you do is the rear naked choke, arm bar, and triangle choke. Those are the only three that you do. You don't do the rest. It's kind of like that to me. You're not practicing any of the sweeps, any of the paintbrush or kimura arm locks, no ankle locks, no knee bars, none of that. Just the big three, so to speak. Um, yeah, so you could imagine that a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter that only does those three, they're limiting themselves, right? And once again, it's kind of like you're only getting a partial picture. So then the question is, how can you get a more complete picture? Aside from just doing these real big, slashes. And in my opinion, You go to, well, for me, is from the Filipino martial arts, we do the angles of attack practice. And someone who works the karambit that way, they're going to probably think to me, or tell me, hey, I do angles of attacks too. I mean, that's where those moves come from. This isn't your typical side slash in the angles of attack. So they'll think that way, but no, you're selecting very specific and limited angles, and you're working on that, and your other angles are going to be very awkward. You don't practice them. You're not fluid with them. And their argument against that is, well, when you actually cut, these are the angles that really cut. The other ones don't really cut as well. So then that argument is like telling a boxer, well, you can't knock out someone with a jab, therefore remove the jab. And in actuality, the jab is one of the most useful, one of the most used tools in boxing. So, yeah, I don't buy that argument. And once again, if you are going to become more fluid, then you start using those other angles, and you practice with the other angles. So that's what I do. And I could instantly tell when I see someone training with a karambit that, oh, they don't really work the other angles, or to them it's still awkward. They haven't figured out how to do that yet, So, that to me is a big lesson. And I feel that is actually very unique to FMA, Filipino martial arts. Silat people learn angles of attack. They do sticks. They do double sticks too. But when it comes to like karambit and even some of their elbow work and stuff like that, is different from the FMA angles of attack. And I don't see them really applying that in there for the most part. So, I believe this is a very good thing for anyone to do if they want to become more fluid, more dynamic with the karambit. And why is that important? That's important because, in a self-defense situation, I'm being attacked, and if I'm in that rare, very rare situation where I do have a karambit and I do feel like I need it, and I got the karambit, and now I'm going to be in this situation, this difficult situation, and I have to balance in my own head. I'm going to be thinking, this slash can disembowel the guy. It may kill the guy. Should I be doing this? And if you ignore that, or if you go, you know what, this is a lethal situation, I'm going to do lethal force, I hope you're right. Because you had a split second to make that decision, and if you're wrong about that, you're in deep trouble, right? So this is an awful lot of pressure you're putting on yourself. Whereas if you go with the angles of attack way of thinking, then I'm using the angles of attack, and I'm not thinking, should I use lethal force on this guy or not? I'm not thinking that. I am thinking survival. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to let him hurt me. Oh, here comes something towards my stomach or something. He could have a knife, or it could be an impact weapon. He's trying to attack me, and I do Earth 6, because it's lower, it's towards my abdomen. So let's say I'm doing Earth 6 to protect myself. I'm not thinking I'm going to do lethal force on the guy. So that is the beauty of, if you understand this and you're using the Heaven 6 and such in this manner, combined with the angles of attack, to me, it's wonderful. It removes all these things that just, to me, become obstacles. Before you see this video and you see someone teaching the karambit, and they're teaching you like, this is a dangerous move and everyone wants to learn it and they get excited about it, but they don't realize that in real life, those moves they're, to me, obstacles. They are going to hinder you. They're going to hinder life, and they're something that you really shouldn't be using. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.